So if 2025 was a year of surprises for you, there has been a new concept that I've been toying with that I've been so excited and grateful to have developed for myself, and one that I wanted to share for the instance that it will be helpful for you as you walk into the next year of 2026. Now, I think I said last year around this time going into 2025 that this would be a year of reverse engineering, of being efficient with your efforts, of really figuring out the goals that you want in life, walking yourself backwards for what type of person you have to be, the actions you have to take towards that goal, and then stepping forward towards that journey of what you want. I think this year, though, is about preparing the infrastructure so that when you do walk that journey and things happen as life happens, that you are as beautifully prepared for the fall, the entropy, the chaos of life as you are for the climb, the journey, the ambition of life. This is a concept that is older than me that exists in martial arts called Ukemi, spelled U-K-E-M-I. And I'll read it out loud here for the definition. So Ukemi in Judo refers to the techniques and the art of falling safely, which are essential for preventing injury when being thrown. And you fall in different directions to make sure that you divert your energy safely. Ukemi was actually what drew me to my next martial art in the first place. Because in my first martial art, there had been a time where I'd been swept. Looking back, it was a necessary part in my journey as a martial arts that I didn't even realize that existed underneath me, almost like a trap door that had been underneath my feet. But when I fell, I learned two things: the importance of committing my actions very firmly and being unafraid of the consequences of me having those actions, but also the shame of falling poorly. In many ways, for that, I'm grateful. After a year of training martial arts solo, I felt like I needed to humble myself to the process even more. I felt like I had to really not try to think outside the box, not really try to prove that my mindset was avant-garde or ahead of time. And no one was asking this of me, but I took it upon myself to just feel like I want to know what it's like to be a part, again, of a hierarchy, a heritage, a tradition, and just learn the fundamentals once again. And when I found out that learning how to prevent the fall existed in Judo, it felt like a doorway to a new perspective. And so I stayed consistent with that. In the time that I was not posting on this channel, I was spending most of my time doing Judo throughout this entire year, as well as working and also working on another venture in terms of just outreaching and marketing projects and whatnot. And so a lot of areas I had to push my identity of self. But I will say the one thing that I was most excited to dive into was learning the art of how to fall well. Falling in a physical sense is the number one fatal injury that people who are older deal with, meaning that if you're above the age of like 48 to 55, the number one way that you can potentially pass is by falling poorly. And so things like resistance training, they're important, but most importantly, I would say a number one skill that you can learn in this lifetime is the art of Ukemi. Learning how to walk is one of the first things we learn when we're 3, but most people in life never learn the art of how to fall, even though that's what you're also going to do as well past the age of 3. I want to read this story, and it's called Judo Journeys Ukemi. The art of falling is the foundation of good Judo. So Ukemi is the art of falling, the Uke is the person who's being thrown around, and the Tori is the person who's throwing that person around. One of my Judo teachers was also a master of the Japanese tea ceremony, an impossibly intricate art. This suited him well, him being fastidious to a fault. He made me practice nothing but falling for 6 months, correcting every infinitesimal detail. He would sense my frustration, He would sense my, He would sense my frustration when he caught me wistfully looking at the other judokas. They would be performing their techniques and sparring while I rolled for hours on end on the mat, with my teacher sometimes deftly throwing me to demonstrate a nuance that I had missed. He would then remind me that the art of falling was the foundation of good Judo. I didn't understand why he referred to falling as an art until much later. I was under the impression that competent judoka avoided getting thrown, and falling was a functional skill, quickly learned on the way to more interesting techniques. As my Judo progressed, I began to grasp why falling was so important. My teachers would constantly tell me that I needed to relax more during our sparring sessions, and my technique was stiff and seemed forced, lacking sensitivity. This came as a surprise to me since I was feeling rather smug about getting thrown a lot less than I used to be. One day, the head teacher, a 70-year-old 8th Dan judoka, called me aside after a randori. How can you do beautiful judo if you do not risk falling? I'll say it again. How can you do beautiful judo if you do not risk falling? He asked. I was taken aback. I thought the whole idea of a randori was to avoid getting thrown. He continued. A lot of judokas don't like to fall, so they try to avoid it at all costs. But by doing this, they get tense, their techniques become wooden, and their judo lacks zest. Seeing he had piqued my interest, he went on. Real judo is like life. The little losses and gains don't count for much. What matters is whether you lived beautifully, with courage and joy. For this, you must learn not to fear falling or failure and welcome it like a friend. Because only when you learn to love it, then can you really live to your fullest potential. So I'll finish with the last paragraph. I felt like a switch had flipped in my head. Our lives are contoured by fears rather than opened by joy. We live in quiet desperation, avoiding losses, hoarding gains, and all the while shortchanging beauty from our days. We teach kids that life is a scoreboard rather than a grand experiment. We school them on how to run and succeed, but never how to fall safely and to bounce right back. We make them brittle by denying them the gift of resilience that comes with knowing how to fall well. We love telling stories of success, but we are ashamed of stories of failure. In short, we create a pervasive fear of failure, which paradoxically denies us what we sought to achieve in the first place, which is a beautiful life. I think it ends so beautifully right there, because even the founder of Judo, Dr. Jigoro Kano, kind of says the same thing as a direct quote, that if you hate to be thrown, how can you even master the art of exerting this? And if you've ever seen Judo live, imagine the same awe you have when you watch Cirque du Soleil or any sort of feat of athletic greatness, but someone doing that to another person as a form of an attack. Like picking up somebody and just moving them with the power of wind and dance footwork and grip strength and just timing. And with just a little bit of effort, you can move someone's entire world upside down. Now imagine that the fundamentals of that magnificent art is you learning how to deal with failing well. That you must be a seed before you become a mustard tree. And Jesus himself in the Christian Bible says, faith is the size of a mustard seed. That is all you need to do anything in life. And when you learn that seed with Ukemi, I think it changes how you feel about life psychologically. I think that you can do with anything first. Like I didn't start with Ukemi. I found it. Or it found me, actually. And it's actually evolved where this entire year has me been kind of doing Ukemi physically. And there's still levels. I still feel like there's more I need to get, But if there's one sort of message from me on this channel to say into this next year, is not only learning how to physically do Ukemi, but to build it infrastructurally in every important area of your life. Building the infrastructure to fail and to fail well and bounce right back. It is boring. And I think that was the biggest thing for me. Because we've heard fall well, we've heard watch your diet, we've heard, take care of your skin or take care of yourself so your body takes care of you later. We hear these messages. I think sometimes they can just feel boring when there's so much things to do and create. There's so much life to experience. But there's nothing like feeling the internal hug of knowing that you've built systems to support yourself. You've gone through the grief of the boredom and the doubt and the uncertainty of, are these systems for me? Can I become this type of person? Because I don't think that really fully goes away no matter what thing you do. It does get overall smoother, but you will still feel that uncertainty, at least in my opinion, on each individual path. Especially when you're trying to kind of learn across different fields. You have to really anchor yourself in patterns and wisdom of who you are. I've never felt so as changed as both learning Ukemi and really understanding the different literacies of emotional literacy, how to build habits and frameworks, how you process things, recognizing your emotions, recognizing your goals, recognizing your good habits, your bad habits, just knowing yourself like the back of your hand, until it was all tied to the art of just one solid thud against the ground. And I was just like, wow, I've been thrown vertical, upside down. When I'm dealing with that, and I learned the art of also like surrendering for a moment to that clear win, just so I can protect myself for the next opportunity, just so I can be alert for the next position. The clarity you feel once you hit the ground and you still looking dead oh man, there's nothing like it. And I'm describing it like it's a punch or it's a kick, and those are beautiful. I mean, that's how I learned martial arts at first. I don't think I would appreciate Ukemi or would have done it as deeply as I did if I didn't see what it was like to go from standing to on my ass because someone did their job better than I did. You know, there's questions that you have to ask where you take radical accountability for yourself. And Ukemi was one of those answers for me. There's a power in being able to face entropy with your chest up and your mind clear and just hugging it as you go down with it and you're ready for the next bout. It's honestly very feminine in a way. You are receiving what life tends to give back, but you are transmuting it so powerfully. You sound like a giant hitting the floor. If you like content like this, where I break down self-development or lifestyle design, strategies and perspectives from a unique angle, whether it be with history or martial arts or a scientific perspective, we do a lot of things over on this channel that I think are just refreshing to hear fundamentals in a new, interesting way. So I hope you had a wonderful holiday, and there'll be more videos to come. But yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.